New tariffs are hitting dozens of countries starting today. The gym class fitness test you loved or hated is back, and scientists may have just cracked a universal cancer vaccine. And today's trivia question: which U.S. president had his golf balls painted black? It's Friday, August 1st. This is the Flyover Podcast. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts. Good morning and welcome to the Flyover Podcast. I'm your weekday host, Ayla Brown. A big thanks to Amy Hess for filling in for me yesterday. So here's some good news. It's Friday, and it's the first day of August. I hope today's show is fun and informative for you, so let's take off with the biggest headlines of the day. First, the U.S. is rolling out sweeping new tariffs on dozens of countries starting today at 12:01 a.m. Mexico has negotiated a 90-day delay, while early deals with the U.K., Japan, and the European Union could help those nations dodge the steepest penalties. But Canada isn't so lucky. Unless a last-minute deal is struck, a 35% tariff kicks in on Friday. The talks hit a snag after Prime Minister Mark Carney publicly backed Palestinian statehood and criticized Israel, drawing backlash from U.S. officials. Other nations without agreements could face tariffs as high as 50%. See a map of countries and where they stand on tariff deals in the show notes below. And also today, remember the presidential fitness test from gym class? It's making a comeback. President Trump signed an executive order to bring it back as part of a new push for youth fitness and what he calls, quote, a culture of strength and excellence. The updated version includes the mile run, sit-ups, shuttle runs, and flexibility tests. It'll be overseen by the reformed President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition, now chaired by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Supporters call it a return to national standards. Critics still remember the trauma. We have a poll question about the presidential fitness test at the end of the show. And there's promising news in cancer research. Scientists at the University of Florida are working on a universal mRNA-based cancer vaccine that could one day treat a wide range of tumors without the weight of a custom formula. In mouse trials, it helped activate key immune responses and slowed growth in aggressive cancers like melanoma and glioma. It's also now entering early human trials and could become a powerful tool against so-called cold tumors that often resist current treatments. Here's what's happening in politics. The Senate Appropriations Committee this week advanced a roughly $1 billion defense package, including $800 million in aid to Ukraine and $225 million earmarked for the Baltic states. This comes even though the Trump administration had requested cutting such funds, indicating persistent bipartisan support in Congress for Eastern European security. President Trump is expected to approve a new humanitarian aid plan for Gaza today after envoy Steve Witkoff and Ambassador Mike Huckabee visited the region. The visit included assessing current aid distribution sites and crafting a strategy to speed food delivery amid mounting criticism over limited access and rising starvation concerns. A record number of Senate Democrats voted to block U.S. weapon sales to Israel over the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, though both resolutions fell. The votes represent a historic shift. Despite failing, over half of Democrats supported halting arms shipments, marking the largest such block yet. You know what the feeling is when you've gotten to the end of something and you feel really, really sad? Well, today before I got ready for the show, I went to my cupboard and I got my Native Path Hydrate packet to put in my water. Realized to myself, oh my gosh, this is my last packet. Well, let me tell you, I savored every sip of my drink today to make it last as long as possible. But guess what? Just like you, I can buy more. I always tell people why I love Native Path Hydrate. It's only 230 milligrams of sodium, and some other mixes have 1,000 milligrams of sodium, which is like a crazy amount of sodium that nobody should be consuming. Native Path, though, you can have it every single day, and they taste amazing, obviously, because I have none left now. It's completely natural, sugar-free, and just 5 calories per serving. And with their 365-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk. Try it for yourself. See what all the hype is about at nativehydrate.com/flyover. Once again, that's nativehydrate.com/flyover, or find the info in the show notes below. All right, this next segment is just for you, our loyal Flyover listeners. In China, military researchers are sounding the alarm over Elon Musk's Starlink satellites, calling them a potential threat to national security. Dozens of studies have proposed ways to disable or disrupt the network, from using ground-based lasers to more extreme orbital sabotage. The concern ramped up after Ukraine used Starlink on the battlefield, and now China's racing to build its own version. Back in Washington, the Trump administration is moving ahead with a $200 million ballroom project at the White House. The donor-funded addition will be 90,000 square feet and hold up to 650 guests, meant to replace those big outdoor tents used for state events. Construction is set to begin in September, and they say it'll be finished before the end of President Trump's term. And here's one from the Science Files. Researchers say humans might carry dormant genes tied to hibernation. Yes, like bears. The idea is that we may have built-in metabolic switches that could help regulate fat storage, cell repair, and energy use, with possible implications for obesity, aging, and chronic diseases. Scientists believe the key isn't inserting new genes, but flipping ones that we already have. Do you feel like hibernating now? I do not. But that is your podcast extra roundup. Amy Hess will give you more of these types of exclusive stories in tomorrow's episode. And coming up, LeBron's eyeing a $5 billion basketball league, not here, but in Europe. And Michael Phelps is trading gold medals for what exactly? I'll tell you after today's finance headlines and stock market update. In finance, Microsoft became only the second publicly traded company ever to break the $4 trillion market valuation mark, joining NVIDIA after a strong earnings report driven by surging AI and Azure cloud revenues. Investors responded very positively after Microsoft disclosed its Azure business generated over $75 billion in fiscal year of 2025, underscoring its dominance in enterprise AI growth. South Korea has agreed to invest $350 billion in the U.S., and in turn, the U.S. will impose a 15% tariff on South Korean imports. Now, that's down from the previously threatened 25%. The deal, aligned with similar agreements recently made with the EU and Japan, includes a $100 billion commitment to purchase U.S. LNG and signals Seoul's broader efforts to deepen economic ties while complying with Washington's reciprocal trade demands. Veteran staffers at the Washington Post continue to depart in large numbers as dozens, including reporters and opinion contributors, accept buyouts offered under new leadership. The exodus comes amid internal turmoil after owner Jeff Bezos restructured the opinion section to emphasize free market and pro-liberty themes, a move that prompted the resignations of longtime editors and sparked internal morale concerns. Here's how the stock market did yesterday. Markets closed slightly lower across the board. The Nasdaq dipped 0.03%, S&P 500 fell 0.37%, and Dow dropped 0.74%. Bitcoin slid 1.18%, while gold rose 1.45%. The biggest mover of the day was Carvana, which surged nearly 17% after reporting a record quarter for both total sales and profit per vehicle sold. In sports, LeBron James and his business partner Maverick Carter recently met in France with Nikola Jokic's agent to discuss plans for a new $5 billion international basketball league featuring 6 men's and 6 women's teams touring across global cities. Backed by investors including the Singapore government and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, the league aims to offer players equity ownership, potentially challenging both the NBA and WNBA's current structure. In golf, the PGA Tour's regular season wraps up this weekend with the Wyndham Championship at the historic Sedgefield Country Club in North Carolina, setting the stage for FedEx Cup playoffs as players jockey for seedings and exemptions into next season's major events. The Kansas City Royals tied a major league record by using 9 pitchers in a 1-0 shutout win over the Atlanta Braves, with Salvador Perez delivering a walk-off RBI single in the 10th inning to seal the dramatic victory. It's only the second shutout in MLB history to feature 9 pitchers and marks another highlight in a season defined by creative bullpen usage. And in a surprising turn into the coaching world, listen to this. Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps announced he'll be giving the Baltimore Ravens swimming lessons after the team reportedly reached out following concerns over recovery and performance training. Now, Michael Phelps, he's obviously known for all of his gold medals. If you forgot, he has 23 Olympic gold medals. He says he's excited to share his expertise with NFL players looking to diversify their conditioning methods. They should try ballet, though. I did that once in college. Hardest thing I have ever done. In science and technology, a couple in Ohio just gave birth to a baby boy from an embryo that was frozen more than 30 years ago, in 1994 to be exact. It's now officially the longest preserved embryo ever brought to term, and doctors say the successful birth shows just how far fertility preservation science has come. NASA and SpaceX postponed Thursday's launch of 4 astronauts to the International Space Station due to bad weather at Cape Canaveral. The new launch window is now today at 11:43 a.m. Eastern, and the mission includes NASA and ESA crew members who will spend 6 months conducting research aboard the ISS. And listen to this, a lightning bolt that stretched 515 miles across the sky from Texas to Missouri has just been confirmed as the longest single flash ever recorded. That's mind-blowing. The mega flash happened back in 2017, but new NOAA satellite data finally verified it, beating the previous record by nearly 40 miles. Wow. These are the kind of stories that don't always make the top pages, but they're just too important to skip. A Delta flight headed from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam, it was forced to divert to Minneapolis after severe turbulence injured dozens of people. 25 passengers and crew were hospitalized after meal carts and people were thrown into the air without warning. Speaking of weather-related news, torrential rain swamped the New York City metro area yesterday, prompting states of emergency in both New York and New Jersey. Flash flooding crippled transit systems, delayed flights, and turned highways into rivers. Meanwhile, dozens of people in inflatable T-Rex suits competed in the T-Rex World Championship races, which actually aired on ESPN. The event featured a lot of stumbling, flailing, and surprisingly competitive sprinting. You can see the video of all of that in the show notes below. It's pretty funny. And if you're a fan of The Wizard of Oz, the Las Vegas Sphere is planning a one-of-a-kind screening on August 28th. The 1939 film will be shown in ultra-high definition with AI-enhanced visuals designed specifically for the Sphere's immersive 360-degree setup. If you've been to one of those shows at the Sphere, I heard it almost makes you sick, like literally almost throw up because there's so much to see. Have you seen a show? Let me know in the comments section. Here's yesterday's poll question and the results. Do you still own a working VCR or any VHS tapes? 50% said both VCR and VHS tapes. 28% said only the tapes. 12% said, I have a VCR. And 10% said, what's a VCR? Oh my gosh, what a great question. I actually have a VCR player in my room at my parents' house, and I was there last night and I tried to watch a Disney movie on it. And the film, the part like in the actual, VHS player, it got stuck in the machine like the old days. And I had to pull it out. And then you see like the film. It was so sad. It was so sad. Needless to say, I did not finish, or I was not even able to start Mulan. But that's what I get for having a VHS player in my parents' house. Here's the poll question for today. Did you participate in the presidential fitness test as a student? Here are the different ways you can answer. Yes, no, got a certificate, or they made me. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I competed in the presidential fitness test. I don't know if it was mandatory. I do remember us being in recess or having gym class in elementary school, and we were asked to do a lot of running. And I do vaguely remember some pull-ups. I could never do them though. So I guess the answer is I vaguely remember it. So yes. You can answer in the show notes below. Amy Hess will read the answers in tomorrow's show. Here's today's trivia. Which U.S. president had his golf balls painted black? The answer, Woodrow Wilson, the 28th president, had his golf balls painted black so he could play in the snow. This innovation allowed him to continue golfing during the winter, as he was very famous for playing over 1,000 rounds during his 2 terms in office. Was he running the country or playing golf? Either way, what a great trivia question. Thank you so much for watching, listening, sharing, and rating the Flyover podcast. I can't believe it's August. I hope you start this month with a smile on your face and you accomplish everything that you set out to do. Tomorrow, Saturday, Amy Hess will be taking you through the weekend. I'll be back on Monday, but I do want to say that she has an incredible feel-good flyover waiting for you to watch right now. So go watch it, go listen to it, and support our show by sharing it. Thank you so much. Thanks for flying with us.